Welcome back to another segment of About Mansfield. I'm Steve Casillo as we make the transition from news to talk. And in the studio today, the Moody family is deeply rooted in Mansfield, from education to the park system to the Mansfield Cemetery. Names like Thomas Mayfield or T.M. Moody, Mac McClendon Moody, Charles Moody, Ken Moody, and others. The Moodys lived through some tumultuous times in our city, yet chose to stay. And while some have passed on, many are still living here. Today, we are honored to welcome a faith leader and community figure whose work and influence have left a lasting mark on Mansfield's history and its Black community. His leadership, his service, his legacy continue to be recognized and preserved for future generations. In recognition of Black History Month, Reverend Floyd Moody, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Was that introduction accurate?
Yes, except Charles, I don't know. Oh yeah, he was in the three, but that's T.M. Moody's nephew.
Okay, okay. And I'm glad you mentioned relationship, because what I would like to do is actually find out not only about Floyd, but Floyd's family tree. So can we go back in time? I know that we're talking 70, 80 years here, but
I'll do my best. My dad died in 2008, and he was the one that could really take us back in history. Now, I can't go as far back as he could, but I can go back to Mac McClendon Moody. I can go back to T.M. Moody and my family. And I can go back to some of my grandfather, my dad's father, his brother. And I've seen some of them I didn't know. I've seen pictures of them back in the early 1900s.
Let's start with your parents. Your dad's name was?
They named him J.E. Moody. They just put a J and then an E. That's where he went with until I think he got ready to get a Social Security card, and then he named himself James Earl.
Where was he raised, and how did they eventually get to Mansfield?
Mansfield has always been his home.
Okay.
And I don't know where his dad, John Moody, I think it's always been his home, but up above that, Kentucky or Tennessee or something, I think they came to this area. I don't know how they got here. Mm-hmm. All I know is that they seemed like the only thing they knew how to do was to work the fields.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he owned a farm.
My dad did. Yeah. He sharecropper. He didn't own the land. He just owned the labor. Mm. He did the labor with us. And and that's why integration helped me out a lot, because it got me out of the cotton field.
Yeah.
Yeah. But my dad, the sharecropper, if you made 5 bales of hay a year or 5 bales of cotton, they called wagon loads of cotton, I think the owner of the land got 3 and the worker got 2. And that's where it was when this, in 56, when this come about. My dad was sharecropper, didn't make enough money to even last a year. Mm-hmm. To a few bales of cotton that he'd make, and corn. He had corn and cotton. That's only 2 things. He didn't make enough money to last through the winter. What would happen, he'd run out of money, then he'd have to go to the man that owned the land to borrow money to keep us going through the winter until spring, to time to gather crop next year. Now he doesn't get all he needed to get because he got to pay back what he borrowed last year, what he didn't have. Someone laughed at me, I think last month, a bunch of blackbirds came over our house, and somebody was laughing about those birds. And I said, do y'all realize when I was growing up, snow was on the ground, those snowbirds or whatever, my dad used to shoot them and we used to eat them. They said, you used to eat them? Yeah, we ate them. didn't have anything else to eat. Rabbits, blackbirds, didn't eat no crow or hawk or nothing like that, but blackbirds, yeah, we ate those.
Do you recall what part of Mansfield you grew up in?
The Tarrant County, except 1 or 2 years, we lived in, I think, what is it, Midlothian? Is that Johnson County?
Johnson County.
Johnson County. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, at that time, Mansfield didn't have Johnson County like you got Johnson County now and part of Ellis County or something else. Got about 3 counties. But then Mansfield was just Tarrant County. When we moved to Britton, Texas, my dad had a better offer from a man there that needed labor and moved down there, and he worked the farm down there for maybe 2 years, because I remember going to Midlothian school, and that was kind of a change, because I would wonder how could Midlothian have a school and also have a high school just 15, 20 miles from Mansfield, and we don't have one for blacks in Mansfield. But Midlothian at that time, I think, had a few more blacks than Mansfield didn't have many people during that time. I think somebody said maybe the whole city was like 600 folk, maybe.
Right.
It wasn't very many people.
So Midlothian is where you went to elementary and...
Part of it. I think I was in the 4th grade when I went to Midlothian. I think when I came back, Mansfield, I think I might have been in the 6th grade. Or I was in the 5th grade. I don't remember.
Okay.
5th grade, probably the 4th grade when I went to Midlothian. And I came back, I was in the 6th grade at Mansfield. And at that time I stayed there until the story that we're about to talk about came about.
Oh, the story's coming, but folks, you're just going to have to hang on.
Yeah.
Describe what downtown Mansfield looked like back in, we're talking 1940s, 50s, 60s?
What you see down there, when it said downtown,
Yeah.
the street, that was Mansfield. That was town. That one street didn't, at that time, I don't even think it had a name. It's Main Street now. All I remember is it had one signal light, and that was on the end down, coming out, if you're going south, coming out, that one light. The other light on the end coming in was a blinking light.
Okay.
Yeah, it says I only had one. I used to tell folk all the time, when you go to Mansfield, make sure you don't miss the last light. Because if you miss the last light, you're out of Mansfield. Up on the hill there, going on up the hill, there wasn't nothing out there. Where you are now, this was all grass and hay. Out here, where all this area. I used to haul hay out here. They would bale it, and I'd be crying to get on the hay field because I want to come out the cotton field.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's easier to haul hay than to pick cotton.
Was that your daily life then?
That was as a teenager. That was my daily life. That's what we did until the little building right there on the corner of Broad and Main Street, sitting right over here. It's a restaurant, I believe, now. That was, I don't remember what it was, but I remember working one day with a construction company to build that building. And it was so tough, and the boss of the deal cussed and fussed so much, and we were just kids. Me and my brother going to work it. Pushing the concrete up there so the bricklayers could get it out and lay the brick. He cussed so, and we couldn't take it. Lunchtime came, we went home to eat and didn't come back. I never will forget my dad fussing about it. Oh, y'all quit that job? I asked Daddy, we couldn't take it no more. He got up in order to make things right because he knew the man needed that help. He went down, he come down to Mansfield, told the man them boys walked off, I'll come down here and finish their job. He did both our jobs. My dad at that time was a big, strong man, weighed about 230 pounds, and about 6'2", and he's strong. He was a strong man. He could do to me. We weren't kids, 15, 16 years old. we couldn't handle that kind of job.
When you were 15, 16 years old, or even younger, 8, 10 years old, tell me about your did you have any playtime? And tell me about your playtime.
If it wasn't no cotton to be picked, wasn't none to be chopped, wasn't no corn to be pulled, then my playtime would be around the house. We always had something going on at the house that you worked. Mm-hmm. Johnson grass be growing up, and Dad say, well, y'all got to get out and cut that grass today. We didn't have no lawnmower. You had a hoe. Yeah, a hoe. Cut the Johnson grass growing up around the house. Because we wasn't around the house and play around it enough to kill it out, so you just have to cut it down. And Johnson grass, if everybody know it, if you don't dig it out, it'll be back next week. Mm-hmm. You just cut it off at the ground. Next week, it's back up like that. So that was our part-time job when we wasn't hauling hay, picking cotton, chopping corn, or chopping cotton. That was our job. And sometimes we would, in the springtime, have time to go down and walk the streets of Mansfield. The residents would let us cut their yard.
Okay.
Back then, we'd get a couple of dollars for a yard cut. But that was good at that point because that was better than we had. We didn't have anything. And a lot of times we'd get old bicycles given to us. I never had the chance to ride a new bicycle growing up. Dad couldn't afford to buy one. But what we would do is when those kids are grown up and they gone, they got those old bikes hanging in the garage, and we stand around and look at it and, oh, what you gonna do with it? Your boys want it, y'all just take it. We got a lot of bicycles given to us like that. We'd take them home. Normally the tires are flat. We'd find a way to patch the tube up, get some air in it, and we ready to roll. That was kind of the joy of the time we'd have off. That's most of the joy time we